Welcome, everyone, to the first ever movie review show on North Shore 9. Doug and Neil go to the movies. I am Neil, and here's Doug. And Doug, what is going on?
Hey, everybody. Happy Christmas to everyone. North Shore 9, as you well know, is a Pittsburgh Pirates-centric podcast. We do Monday morning shows, and we do Wednesday night shows, and we do post-game shows. We do shows where guys open packages of baseball cards. Riveting television, let me tell you. We do emergency podcasts for things that we knew were going to happen 6 months in advance. We are dedicated Pittsburgh Pirate podcast. And for that, I'd like to apologize. Today, we're going to try something different, something joyful. We're going to discuss something that's not going to make you, climb up on that bridge next to George Bailey. Today, we're going to talk about Christmas movies, our favorites.
Thank God, a joyful time of year where things always end well, and
angels get their wings, and guys get the girl, and kids get their Red Ryder BB guns. It's just again something that no angst, no millennial angst for this one. No 4 decades of just sorrow and shaking your head. So.
No, when it comes with pirates, you know what you're going to get. And the pirates, it's usually going to end badly. It's going to be misery. Yeah. But with Christmas movies, you know what you're going to get, but it's always feel good.
Right. It's something in common, the pirates and the Christmas movies.
It's getting touchback every single time you sit down to watch it. And that's something special to have, Christmas movies, But I gotta tell you, I think my hot takes, a lot of Christmas movies aren't that good.
I agree with you. Most of them are terrible. Most of them are pretty bad. I would say, for the sake of our discussion, I have excluded all of these sort of animated 30-minute things that we watch on CBS. I love those. I love Rudolph. I love Grinch. I love the Peanuts. I love Heatmeister and Coldmeister. I love those things, but I don't consider them. For this exercise, I'm not considering them a part of my list.
No, that is entirely fair. And I do have a couple of those just because they're classics, and I think they're long enough. But it's not exactly what you think. But for the sake of this, I am excluding Die Hard.
Yes.
I think it's a Christmas movie, but to prevent any wasting our time on a dumb debate, I'm just not including it. Die Hard's a great movie.
It's not on my list. It's probably my favorite action movie of all time. I love it, but everything that happens to Die Hard can happen on May 3rd. He can go back to visit his wife in May. There's no, at no point does he say yippee-ki-yay and God, I need to get that off my Christmas list. I need to get the Red Ryder BB gun. So,
and so I mean. And I've also just no Hallmark movies, I think is but the thing is, even though Hallmark movies are objectively bad, I can't help but enjoy watching them in a comedic sense. I don't know about you, but I love.
They're great for just. You can almost start saying the lines before the actors do. What our harried, hardworking young advertising executive as she meets her Christmas tree farmer. I've excluded those two mostly because I haven't watched too many of them.
Outside of the Christmas Prince, I don't know how many I could actually name by title because they're all the same. But
I bet you could get 100 right by just making up titles, right? Just coming up with the most absurd title.
And my girlfriend and my mom and my sisters, they all love this stuff, and they hate watching it with me because I'm the jerk that just laughs at it all. How ridiculous it is. So no Hallmark movies, but
I'm with you there as well. So.
Even though they're fun, they're really.
Right. I see why people, drink them in. I do. I just not for me.
Well, speaking if you've ever done a Hallmark drinking game with your friends, 10 out of 10 experience.
The only drinking game I do is I drink every time Donardo says intrigued. So
Okay, yeah.
And I'm now an alcoholic. So
Yeah, you'd be dead.
I've had a couple bouts of pancreatitis.
All right. Well, do you want to start us off with your number 10?
Yeah. My number 10 is actually a new entry. And I do also want to say, that I've actually done a little research. I'm not doing my normal Pirates post-game half-ass approach. I don't want to say I'm going whole ass, but I'm at least at 3/4 ass. So
all right.
I even watched a movie I hadn't seen earlier in the week just to be prepared for this. But number 10 for me is from last year, Spirited Away, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds and Octavia Spencer. It was on Apple TV, I think. It's a spinoff on A Christmas Carol musical. Just it's exactly what you expect. Ryan Reynolds is snarky, Scrooge, and Will Ferrell is the I guess ghost of I don't know, he's one of the ghosts. He's in charge of getting him in line. And it just has a fun sort of new approach to it. I was surprised by how well Ryan Reynolds could sing. And I just enjoyed it. It was just a lot of fun. And probably a lot of it because it was new, right? I haven't seen it 638 times. And I got a big kick out of it.
Okay. I've never heard of this movie. At first I thought you were talking about that 2001
the
anime movie. I'm like, that's a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
So is Ryan Reynolds actually singing? Is that his actual voice, or is this
I'm pretty sure.
Or is this a High School Musical thing where they have someone singing for Zac Efron?
Doesn't Zac Efron sing in the Greatest Showman?
Oh, does he? I have never.
He does. I thought it was him. It sounds like what I imagined his voice sounds.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, it sounds like Ryan Reynolds to me. I'm one of those that misses that sort of thing sometimes. I'm like, oh, he was lip syncing. I didn't notice. Whatever. I was tapping my toe. I was happy.
Okay. I will have to check that because
give it a shot.
A modern Christmas musical does not happen very often. All right. My number 10 is something that everyone has seen 650 times, and that is A Christmas Story.
That hurts me a little at number 10.
I think it's not my generation, which is why I think it is a little lower. But there's just so many good moments. And I gotta say, the scene where he has his tongue stuck to the pole scarred me as a kid. I'm still to this day afraid to put my face anywhere near a metal pole because of this movie.
I think that's words to live by there. I think that's it's a valuable lesson, so that's good.
Yeah, but I'm assuming you have yours a little higher.
I have it a little higher, so I'll save my comments. Yeah, I mean it's top 10 for sure. I have it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to it.
All right. Number 9. What is number 9 for you?
Bad Santa.
Another one I haven't seen.
Oh my gosh, you did see Bad Santa. I mean, Bad Santa is I guess it's the anti-Christmas movie. I mean, Billy Bob is being Billy Bob. He's awful and he's terrible, and unredeemable it seems. But it's got it's a good Billy Bob performance. The little kid is good. Bernie Mac. I mean, Lauren Graham. It's and again, it's an original take on something, which part of the problem with the Christmas movies is as much as we like them, and it's it's a lot of versions of A Christmas Carol. It's a lot of versions of similar thing. It's hard to do too much original stuff with the Christmas theme. So I enjoyed just how different it was. It's set in Los Angeles, and it's just a fun foul, don't watch it with your children, type thing. But I got a kick out of it.
It's one of those things where you get to put the kids to bed. All the Christmas gifts are under the tree. You've done your job. Now you get to sit back and watch a movie that you can You don't have to show your kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No Elmo in this movie, right?
Yeah, and Tony Cox apparently is in it. He plays the same role as he does in every single movie that Tony Cox is in.
Yeah. His range is somewhat limited, I guess.
All right. I don't know if many people have seen this movie, but it came out this year. It's brand new.
The Holdovers?
The Holdovers, yes.
I was going to watch it last night. It's not playing anywhere locally.
No, it was in and out of theaters very quickly.
Yeah.
But we talk about the Christmas formula. This is such a great.
I wanted to see this.
This is such a great reinvention of the Christmas formula. Like Paul Giamatti has always been a really good actor.
Yes,
he is fantastic in his role, and it is one of the most subtly funny Christmas movies I have ever seen. Like it doesn't quite hit you at first, but like. It's so good in terms of the dry humor, and the kid who plays Angus, Dominic Sessa, this 21-year-old who only auditioned because they were filming where he was going to college or auditions were happening there, and he just like snuck in an audition and got the role, and he is fantastic. So like it's funny, it's full of heart, it's pretty much everything you want in a Christmas movie, but it's also not like redoing the same thing. It's a good twist on the classic. And so if you haven't seen it, please do, because I think it made only $17 million. It deserves so much more. It is something that you can watch with your family if your family's a little older. It's a lot of fun.
I was gonna get it on. I think it's available on Prime, but it's for $20. And you know how tough it is to get expenses, from NS9. So I said, no, I'm just not going to take that chance.
Our paychecks have been in back order for a couple of weeks now.
Still looking for that. I guess it's called indirect deposit in our case, but I'm definitely going to check that out. More so, I knew you would have seen it. You saw it in the theater. I
did not. Unfortunately, I did not see it in theater. I meant to, but I was really sick around Thanksgiving time, and I just didn't want to I don't want to sit and exist in a theater.
Yeah.
With the germs. So I streamed it at home, but I'm very happy. I'm probably going to buy it on Blu-ray just because I didn't see it in theaters and I want to support.
Yeah, and I was looking for it in the local theaters, and I mean they're rerunning Gremlins. And stuff like that. I'm like, come on, like this movie's. I mean, it's Christmas. Give it a shot. Push it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to it though. So I'm glad you liked it because I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, what is your number 8?
Christmas Vacation.
I haven't seen that one either.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, did you see Vacation, the original with Chevy Chase?
Yes, I have.
Right. It's he's obsessed with having the great family vacation in that movie. In this, he's obsessed with having the great family Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
Hijinks ensue, So,
it's a Chevy Chase 1980s movie. So
it's not hard to see, where it's going, how it's working out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got it. It was fun. It's still fun to go. I owned a video store in late 90s, early 2000s, and I couldn't keep it on the shelf at Christmas time. People really, really, I had to buy extra copies. People really, really enjoyed it. It's become part of, people's Christmas tradition. I always got a good kick out of it. So, again, I thought you'd have seen 1,000 of these by now.
You would think. It's weird because this is a movie that's for me. Like I like Chevy Chase is really funny. I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Randy Quaid's a good time. That is like a classic 1980s movie that you would love. But I don't think I've seen it. I know the last Chevy Chase movie I saw Caddyshack for the first time this year.
Wow.
It always escaped me.
That's an overrated film to me, and I know I'm probably going to get. I am going to drop in the NS9 rankings now after that one.
Bucko Mike's coming for you.
Yeah, he is. And, I mean, people love that movie. Guys my age, that is a go-to for them. But I mean, it's funny. It's just to me, it's not. It is not the classic that people make it out to be.
I think I would have enjoyed that movie more if I wasn't watching it with my parents.
Yeah,
Because at some points it was just downright uncomfortable.
yeah, that's got to be a little awkward, right?
All right, number 8. So it is a Rudolph movie, but it is not the 30-minute Rudolph movie. I have number 8 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. I love this as a kid. I watched
this.
They
sing Silver and Gold.
Yeah,
yeah, I love that movie.
It does something where like it takes the formula. Like you have Yukon Cornelius, you have the elf, you have Rudolph, and like it doesn't ruin it. It just continues off of it and just makes like a lovely sequel that you don't see very often.
For sure.
And like the music is good. Obviously, as a kid, the messaging is good. Like, I can't say enough good things about Island of Misfit Toys because, I don't know, it was a childhood classic for me. And I honestly, just seeing Hermie interact with King Moonracer and Yukon Cornelius, it was great.
I think, too, it's created sort of an iconic, I don't know if catchphrase is the right word, but when someone tells you like, oh, we're part of the Island of Misfit this, or you know what I'm saying? It's created something that has kind of lasted and outsized the actual movie itself. So I give it credit for that. And yeah, it is a sweet movie. It like I said, great messaging, fun, very, very Christmas spirit to it.
Yeah. I will fully admit that this is like probably childhood nostalgia, but I can't believe it. Like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb don't like this movie.
Huh.
And I figured this was like
that's right, because I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes top 100. I don't think it's even on their top 100.
There's no way there's 100 Christmas movies better than Island of Misfit Toys.
There are so many. I got the list right here. And so many of them I've never heard of. I mean, so many of them are the Hallmarky, and then there's a bunch of things like Die Hard, The Ref, Trading Places. I mean.
Isn't Die Hard 2 on there? I'm pretty sure Die Hard 2 is on.
I don't think it's on the list, but yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to get in the debate set at Christmas versus Christmas movie, but yeah, I mean, I love The Ref with Dennis Leary, Kevin Spacey, Judy Collins. It is a funny, subversive, dark comedy. And it didn't occur to me until I saw it on the list that would be considered a Christmas movie. So, I'm like, okay, you're kind of reaching there, Rotten Tomatoes, but can you say so? I mean, Trading Places. Yeah. Yes, Dan Aykroyd does put on a Santa Claus suit, but don't really consider it a Christmas movie. So.
I don't either, but I will defend Island of Misfit Toys even if the reviewers don't like him.
I'm with you.
What is number 7 for you, Doug?
Number 7 for me, and this is. It's White Christmas. And I mean, this is 107 years old. You got Bing Crosby singing White Christmas. I don't know how much more, Christmassy, and you can get to that. Bing Crosby was a longtime part owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates, so I have a soft spot for him. And it is everything you would expect from, the 1940s, the happy joy time of the war ending and that sort of thing. There was a whole slate of those kind of movies that had come out. It's well executed. It's exactly what you would think. It's got some great music. It's got some wonderful performance, and it is by definition a classic Christmas movie.
Yeah. It is not on my list, but I have seen White Christmas every single year because it is probably my parents' favorite Christmas movie. And it's fun. I think I have seen it too much that it has been like bumped down for me.
Yeah, it does happen.
Like you said, Bing Crosby is Christmas. Like besides like all the religious stuff, when you think of Bing Crosby, when you think of Christmas,
right,
Bing Crosby is probably the first person that comes to mind.
Yeah, and it's a great song. And Christmas songs are somewhat like Christmas movies. There's not a lot of good ones, but it's hard to argue with Bing Crosby crooning out White Christmas there. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. Especially, it's way I think, and this is my hot take. I think Last Christmas is the worst Christmas song ever composed.
Oh, I'm with you 100%.
Okay, thank God.
This will come up a little later, and it's quite ironic for me. But oh my God, that that song is terrible. And there's, you got the original from Wham, you got the Taylor Swift cover. There's some other. I mean, you can't get away from it.
No, it is. It is everywhere, and like it doesn't make sense. And I like Wham. I legitimately. That sounds terrible though.
No, I like Wham. I'm a Swiftie. I don't. I mean, I can't hit change station sooner when that.
I would say I would listen to a Bing Crosby. Did it well back? I would listen to a Bing Crosby version of Last Christmas because I think his silky smooth charm could at least add something to it. No, I love White Christmas. It is 100% worth it, but I have some movies that I think are just like better to watch over again. So number 7 is also a newer one. It is an animated movie. This came out in 2019, and that is Klaus. And this was released on Netflix. And J.K. Simmons plays Klaus.
Love J.K. Simmons.
And it is just a different retelling of how Santa comes to become Santa, but it's done so well. You have beautiful animation. Like the animation is so painstakingly taken care of. The story is really good. The voice acting is great. A lot of people haven't seen this one, but it is on Netflix. Please give it a watch this Christmas season because I have not shown it to anyone and not enjoy it. It's good for kids. It's good for adults. Like it's one of those things that's really good for all ages.
Listening to J.K. Simmons voice Omni-Man in Invincible.
Yes.
He's awesome. I hopefully he's a little warmer and fuzzier in Klaus. But
a little bit, yeah. But he's not yelling about someone's tempo in this one.
Yeah, little whiplash there. Right.
I love it. But I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, I recommend.
I haven't, but I will. I'll watch it and get back to you. I'll give you
all right. What is your number 6?
My number 6 is Scrooged. Again, I'm going back to 1989. I think another 80s. Mm-hmm. It's Bill Murray, the Christmas version. It's a Christmas Carol. It's a Christmas Carol set. He's a television producer, and he's Bill Murray being Bill Murray, and I am always, on board for Bill Murray being Bill Murray.
I saw that movie once, like when I was in high school, and I remember enjoying it. I can't say I remember a whole lot about it now, but like I do. Bill Murray is very fun,
right?
So I mean, I will never say no to watching it.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's again another Christmas Carol version. It's just a little different on that theme. A little modern retelling. Mm-hmm. Bill Murray chewing up scenery, and I'm down for it. So,
like Christmas movies with Bill Murray, you kind of know what you're going to get a lot of the time.
Right. Especially, I mean, again, this is 1989. He was sort of at the peak of his powers, So,
yeah.
But yeah, I remember we saw it. I was in Chicago at the time and managing a nightclub, and we went Thanksgiving night. We call ourselves the widows and orphans, all of us who were, stuck there, couldn't go home for Christmas. We had Christmas at my apartment, Thanksgiving dinner at my apartment. And then we went out and saw the movie. So it was fun.
You were the holdovers. And now,
there you go.
All right. Number 6 for me is another classic. It is A Charlie Brown Christmas. I know it's short, but there's a reason you watch it every single year, and it's not fancy. It's not, but it hits all the right chords. Like when I want to feel warm and fuzzy, I watch A Charlie Brown Christmas because it's short. It gets you in the Christmas spirit, and it's uplifting. And I don't know, that dance song I have stuck in my head every single time.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I love, yeah. That's, I've watched that. I'm sure 50 times now. You know,
Mhm.
so I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's great. There's it's bulletproof. You
Mhm.
cannot dispute its spot on any kind of Christmas film list, Christmas theme, anything. So
Mhm. I'm
it's
almost and my roommate and I were this close to like going out and trying to get like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree because we don't want to like pay for a real tree, but so like we're just like we'll play it off with the joke because it's just so good. But no, I love a Charlie Brown Christmas. It's way better than any other Charlie Brown thing.
yeah, I think so too. It's the best. I mean, I do like the Great Pumpkin, but it's
The
the
Great
best.
Pumpkin is good, but like it kind of blows Thanksgiving out of the water. But what is your number five?
Number five for me. Oh, we're going to get back to that. Number five for me, the film is The Last Christmas.
Nice.
And which again is ironic because I hate that song. I had not, was not going to watch the film just because, it was based on, but I had a buddy tell me, I was telling him what we were doing. He said, "Man, what about Last Christmas?" I'm like, "I've not seen it." And I watched it. I mean, I'm in. Okay, Emma Thompson writes it. Paul Feig, I don't think that's how you say that, directs it. You
Mhm.
got, Emilia Clarke. She is just delightful and charming in
Mhm.
this. You got Henry Golding. I am down with Henry Golding being the next James Bond. He is that just charismatic in this movie. It's
Okay.
got a twist that I did not see coming.
Mhm.
It is, very, very, very Christmas themed. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but man, just a completely charming, delightful, movie.
Mhm.
I didn't see it coming. I sat down to watch it somewhat grudgingly because it's based on the worst Christmas song ever. And but man, it got me. It's really, I mean, 3 days later, I'm telling people at work, "Have you seen Last Christmas? Man, you've got to watch Last Christmas."
So it's the inverse of Christmas Shoes, which is one of the saddest, most heartfelt songs, and then you watch the movie,
Yeah.
and then you're like, "What the heck is this?"
Rob Lowe, please. Not the right role for Rob Lowe.
No, not at all. Like, but so I think I saw this movie once with my family, and I do remember it's a very Christmassy movie, feel good, and I really like Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the only reason I was kind of interested because I'm like, oh, this kind of looks like a Hallmark movie. But no, it is very homey. It did not make my list. It is not above here, but it's a solid modern Christmas film.
Definitely could be a victim of recency bias. But yeah, I like, and again, just expectations versus what I got. I was,
Mhm.
I had very low expectations. And
Mhm.
yeah, she's just delightful. Looks great in it. I didn't know she could sing,
Mhm.
I just really enjoyed it. Now, 6 months from now, it might fall down to number 13 or something. I
Yeah.
don't know, but for
Mhm.
now, I am basking in the glow of Last Christmas.
All right, this one it's hard to bask in the glow of, but it works, and it's another classic, and that is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I don't know if that made your list.
It did not. It's my favorite Christmas song by Bruce Springsteen, though. So it's got that vibe for me. I do love Santa Claus Coming Down. It was a great one. But it did make my list.
For me, it's like the music is what sets this one apart. Like all the songs, except the weird song with the Mrs. Claus sings in the town square, and it's kind of trippy. It's like she's on an acid trip.
Yeah.
All the music is just so good. It's a classic telling of how Santa Claus came to be, but like a Charlie Brown Christmas, it just hits all those notes that you want. Like it's feel good. And honestly, I just like the Misers.
They're fantastic. They're fantastic. I mean, I can still, I'm Mr. 101. I mean, they're great.
The Miser Heister Burger or whatever the heck. Yeah. like those things have been burned in my brain since I was a little kid. And I can't help but like enjoy it every time it comes on.
There's still merch out there now. I mean, these things are 50 plus years old. And again, the Misers have transcended the actual film itself. You can go right now and buy a T-shirt that's got the Heat Miser or the Cold Miser. Or both of them on there. I mean, that's remarkable.
Yeah, right.
And everybody knows. Nobody's like, "Who's that?" No, they know who it is. Right?
Yeah, and I don't know, like, it's just the animation for the time period is also just like really good. Like, it really it still holds up somewhat, and that's what I'm impressed by, like just like the technical filmmaking, because like I sit back and think this has to have been a pain to make.
Yeah, it's remarkable when all of that stuff, you're like, wow, how did they do that back then? They had nothing,
Yeah.
2,000-pound cameras,
What is your number 4, Doug? We're now in the top 5.
We're into it. Number 4 for me is Love Actually.
Wow.
I love Love Actually. And I'm a sap for romantic comedies. But I don't really consider it a romantic comedy. That's not. But movie gets me every time. I think it's got all these. I mean, it's just a sweet movie. It's got, and I mean, I am a sarcastic and cynical fella. but this is a movie about love. I'm on board. It's Richard Curtis wrote and directed it. He I think is brilliant. He's done some great stuff. He found these people early. It's early Keira Knightley. It's early Chiwetel Ejiofor. It's what's his name? Andrew. I can't remember the guy from The Walking Dead. Martin Freeman. Before anybody knew who Martin Freeman was.
This cast is like you kind of forget how it's like you have Colin Firth and Liam Neeson in this. You have Keira Knightlly and Alan Rickman's in this movie too.
Emma Thompson, Claudia Schiffer shows up, and the cast is just fantastic. Laura Linney, man, I mean, it's just a great cast. A bunch of clever, to me, independent stories that link together. I'm a sucker for it. It's really one of my favorite movies. I wish I could tell you it was all Godfather 1, 2, and Serpico. Yeah. I'm sorry. I love Actually. I'm not embarrassed.
It goes to show you just like how well, if you just get a bunch of talented actors in the same room and give them like some direction, like you can make even like the dumbest romantic comedy.
It's a home. I know what I'm.
But it works because of all the talent in the room.
Right.
And it is not on my list. It is.
No,
good.
I wouldn't think so. But and hardcore.
You did a lot better. I'm just going with like the classics that everyone knows. Like I'm gonna get into some, like I think my next 2 might be a little hot topic, but like. Yeah, I like your list so far. All right, number 4. This is the most polarizing Christmas movie I've ever discussed with people in real life, and that's The Polar Express. I don't think I've ever had anyone have a neutral opinion on this movie. You either adore this movie or you think it's the worst thing you've ever seen.
Well, I guess I'm a little more neutral. I liked it. I love Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks' character is so good.
It's Robert Zemeckis, I think. I took my son to this at the theater when he was age appropriate, and he really, really enjoyed it. So again, it gives me a kind of a soft spot for that. I remember he saw that and how much he enjoyed it and how much he wanted to see it again. And we went and got the book, the whole. So I have a real fond memory of it. It's very solid. Like I said, it's not on my list, but I certainly wouldn't say it's bad or terrible or whatever. It's like,
the animation does not like, unlike Santa Claus Coming Down. The animation is frankly awful. Like if you watch this again, like you're like, what? It's kind of like when you rewatch The Incredibles and you realize that this still kind of looks like it was on the animated paper, but like I don't know, maybe as a kid I loved trains, so like the idea of like going on this magical train ride was like the coolest thing ever. And the annoying kid is always like really funny, even at like in this age, and it just I don't know. I always feel great after watching The Polar Express, even though like I was never like a believer in Santa, like that just wasn't a thing in our house for whatever reason. No, not all of us were too cynical of children to believe. It is the closest I've ever gotten to believing, and that I think that's something. There's something to be said there.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, that's exactly what you want from some of these movies, is to sort of make you feel like a kid again, make you believe again. So yeah.
And Rotten Tomatoes does not like this movie either, so clearly
But Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, I don't know how, but they seem to get it wrong and often.
Yes.
So,
Well, when 3 out of 5 or like a 60% can be considered a good movie, it really just is a lot of stuff. Like,
yeah.
but
Yes,
now my
I'm old school. I'm back from the Siskel and Ebert days, back when they were tough, when
Yeah, right.
critics actually were critical. You know?
And we're paid off by Disney.
All right, yeah, in his pocket.
I think my number 3 is a hot take, but I will let you go with your number 3 first.
No, because my number 3 is a hot take.
All right.
My number 3 is It's a Wonderful Life.
See, and I don't blame any. I think that is on my list too.
Right.
It's higher,
Right.
but I don't. If it's your top 3, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. It's not like I'm saying it's a terrible movie, right? We'll save most of the conversation for it. There were. Did you know that it won an Oscar for technical achievement for having realistic looking snowfall? That's 1946. I just thought that was fascinating, right? It was nominated, I think, for Best Picture. It was nominated six for 6 Oscars, and that's the one it won. But that just fascinates me.
Now that you mention it, I get it. Like, because like it, if you think with the time period, it does look pretty real.
It does look, yeah, it does, and they used it a lot. I mean, there was a lot of snow falling there, and
like the cinematography in that movie is just really good. Like, you really feel like George Bailey's going to be jumping off that bridge until.
It's a really, really good movie.
It ages absurdly well, actually. Like the technical stuff like would pass compared to some CGI today.
yeah, exactly. And again, it's got great performances, and I mean Frank Capra directs. Did you know it bombed at the theater?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
How did that bomb?
It bombed. It was poorly reviewed.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It cost $3 million to make, and it made about $3 million. But they said it's to make its money back, they needed to make $6 million, so it didn't even come. They said it lost $525,000 at the box office. Which, in 1946, that's a
hefty sum. Yeah.
Hefty sum. We still won't spend that on a relief pitcher. So
it always goes back to the Pirates.
But I digress.
Yeah. So
I'll leave that. I've got more. I put some research. I did not want to put It's a Wonderful Life at number 3 without having some facts and figures.
Yeah, it is higher on my list. But my number 3, and you know how I said I wasn't going to include Die Hard because it starts a debate. I kind of lied. Because my number 3 is Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick.
I remember watching that, and after wiping off the ick, thought, gosh, what a great Christmas story.
Because I think it counts because it's one of those things that can't happen on May 3rd.
That's for sure.
I think it is but I love that is a hot take. I love Stanley Kubrick. I love the way that he just experiments with human emotions and it was depravity. Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. Just it's not a feel good movie. unlike all the other stuff on this list, this is not a feel good movie. But if you are interested in a different type of Christmas adventure, this one might be for you.
Yeah, this is definitely a hot take. Tom Cruise Tom Cruise is one of our great movie stars.
Yeah.
Right? It has been for a long time. And there's, when Tom Cruise has to play pool, I'm sure he plays for 100 hours a day until he's a good pool player. If he has to throw darts or if he has to, but there's certain things he cannot do. Mm-hmm. You ever seen Tom Cruise when he smokes a cigarette or if he drinks it? It looks like he does not know what to do, right? Because he has never smoked a cigarette. It's watch Tom Cruise drink a beer. And go back and watch A Few Good Men and watch him drink. It looks like he has never drank anything out of a bottle ever. And then, he has no chemistry with any of his female co-stars, at least not since probably 1983 with Rebecca De Mornay.
So he doesn't have any
business.
He doesn't have any chemistry with Nicole Kidman, but at least in this one, I feel like it's intentional. Like
no, I agree.
So it works, but you're right. Like
it's hard for me to see him as a sexual being. It's like because it's just not what he does. So yeah, but I like the movie, and Kubrick's a genius.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of those movies that came out when I had my video store, and it sparked lots of conversation with me and the staff and our customers. So I never thought you would have it on your number 3.
I can only imagine
over a Christmas Story.
I can only imagine your fellow coworkers just looking at the people who are coming in and renting Eyes Wide Shut at Christmas time. But,
yeah. Well, I didn't have a adult section of my store. My store was a family video store. And
yeah,
I think a lot of the guys that would come in and look around and then say, "Hey, is there a back room?" And we'd say no, and then they'd go rent something, completely like just not to make it look like that's the only thing they're looking for. Mm-hmm. They all got shut.
No,
it spoke to some of my customers for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm going to rewatch it just this Christmas season. Probably not with my family, but if you haven't seen it,
in gifts on Monday morning.
if you want a different Christmas experience than Stanley Kubrick, check out Eyes Wide Shut.
See, I'm glad I almost put the rep on, just to do throw my one little curve, Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm like, no, I'll go with White Christmas instead. But, let Neil take that one.
All right, what is your number 2?
Number 2 for me is A Christmas Story.
All right,
and part of the reason why, again, it's iconic now. If I say to just any stranger on the street, I want a Red Ryder BB gun, they are going to holler back, "You'll put your eye out," right? It is, in pop culture, it sort of transcended the actual work itself. I love Darren McGavin as the old man. When I was a kid, I watched a show called Night Stalker. Darren Kolchak. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was
I am not.
He was a reporter, like for a San Francisco newspaper, and he chased. I think there was only like 6. They were like mini movies or something. But he chased down vampires and werewolves and stuff, and then wrote about it in his paper. David Chase was the writer. The guy that created The Sopranos. It was just a great show, so I've always liked him. The whole, just like I said, the kids, the whole "I triple dog dare you."
It is out of all these, it is the most quotable Christmas movie.
Yeah, and it's a Christmassy movie. It's all about Christmas. It's about getting a gift. It's about it's the Christmas dinner, the goose. It's the
I think the biggest and the compliment that I can give to its lasting cultural impact is that there are thousands, if not millions, of Americans to this day who will willingly have that terrible leg lamp in their homes.
Yeah. And Fragile is one of my favorite all-time. Look, it's Italian, Fragile.
But so it is a really good movie. Like, it's very quotable. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, just like the whole, the Christmas Day thing is just always so memorable, where they're tearing open the gifts and then they ruin the turkey. And so they end up at the Chinese restaurant on Christmas Day.
That
wouldn't fly today.
You couldn't get away with that one today. The bunny suit, getting that terrible gift from a family member is a classic thing. I love him, saving up and cracking the code with Little Orphan Annie thing and find out it says "Drink More, Ovaltine." Crass, commercials. It's just, like I said, the kid sticking his tongue to the pole, the little brother waddling along in his little Christmas, jumper. It's just great. I mean, it came out in 1983. It made like $20 million at the box office on a budget of like $6 million. So it did well. Mm-hmm. And I remember them saying it would have done better, but that Christmas holiday movies were not popular back in 1983. So
that I believe. I mean, when Chevy Chase is your best bet for a holiday movie, I can kind of understand why families aren't lining up to go to the movies on Christmas.
Exactly. Right. Which, again, I was in my late teens and early 20s during those things, and all that little, smart alecky, sarcastic, mockery kind of stuff appealed to me. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that movie. I can see why there would be some Christmas Story fatigue as TNT and TBS play,
constantly
24 straight hours on Christmas. But it's classic. It deserves its spot there up there in the top 10 at least, Neil.
Yeah, I agree.
Of Eyes Wide Shut and
I mean, listen, I don't think anyone else has Eyes Wide Shut in their top 10 Christmas movies, but considering I had a bunch of classics, I had to throw one.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous
on there.
Number 2 being
number 2. I don't know if this is a classic, but number 2 for me is A Muppets Christmas Carol. This movie just hits all the notes. Like I love subtle, dry humor. In this movie, hits all that for me. Like Michael Caine is fantastic as Scrooge, Gonzo as the narrator, making all these jokes and stuff. And the Muppets just have that puppety charm that really just fits the Christmas mold so well. And it's so good that you don't even question that Michael Caine is walking around talking to furry animal puppets. It's just
right. Fly right in. They suck you right into their world, and you're like, this isn't silly at all.
And I think it's the best telling of a Christmas story, of a Christmas Carol, because it adds humor to it. It's not it's not too kid friendly like the Disney version. It just it walks that line of being the serious story that Charles Dickens wrote and the kids movie that you love the Muppets for. And so I love A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I'm not gonna no disparaging there. It's probably not as good as my Leaving Las Vegas for a Christmas movie, or let's see some of these others I thought you might choose. The Usual Suspect.
Oh man,
it's terrific. It's a lot of fun. Just charming. So yeah, and it brings me to one of my tidbits about It's a Wonderful Life as well. Is that most people think Bert and Ernie were named after the characters in It's a Wonderful Life, but not true. Just a coincidence, says Jim Henson. They and it makes sense when you think about it. It's a Wonderful Life came out in 1946, but was not, after it left theaters, it was not seen again until 1976 on television, when its copyright expired and it became part of the public domain, and they could, NBC could play it as often as they wanted, and that sort of thing. So, Sesame Street started in 1968. Again, we forget in this day and age that I went through spans of my life where I could not see a movie. I had no access to it.
Yeah.
It came out at the theater. If you didn't go see it, you might see it 2 or 3 years later on television, and then it would run a couple of times on TV, once or twice, and then, boom, that's it. You didn't stand a chance. Now, of course, everything is immediately at our fingertips. And, but yeah, so I'd always thought that in my research. I came across that was not true, and found it, really interesting. So,
yeah. So that is really the fact. I had no idea that It's a Wonderful Life just disappeared from public eye for 30 years. That's
right.
crazy.
Right. I mean, you just assumed it was on every year, right? I did. I just assumed. Okay, it came out in 1946. Starting in 1947, it was on every Thanksgiving for the next 50 years. And no, not till 1976. 30 years later.
All right. So, Doug, what is your number one Christmas movie?
My number one Christmas movie is A Miracle on 34th Street, the original. It came out in 1947. Just a, really sweet, again, Christmas story, proving, the existence of Santa Claus. The guy that played Santa Claus won Best Supporting Actor, Oscar. It was nominated for Best Picture. It didn't win. It's just a terrific movie. Natalie Wood gives just a delightful, precocious performance.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I really liked, I mean, at 7, 8 years old, I loved lawyer shows. And so when you got a lawyer, there, and when he's like, well, if he's not Santa Claus, how come, in the post office, they bring in all the mail? I just love that scene. you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, just the whole. I mean, it's just so much basically about removing your cynicism and give in to the spirit of Christmas. You know, Natalie Wood doesn't
Yeah.
believe he's this, 40-year-old in an 8-year-old girl's body. Movie was cast aspersions on by the Public Decency League and the Catholics, and because the mother was a divorcee, it was too scandalous to be, so they recommended their constituents did not watch, which just kind of funny to me, But yeah, just I mean, I just love it. It's just a really just charming, sweet. A Christmas movie. It like you said, many of the others, it strikes all the right notes. You can watch it. You can sit down at any point, just pick up wherever you are. You're and not exactly what's going on. It's a lot of fun.
It was a different time. I forget which movie, but it was scandalous because a woman was trying to hitchhike and she pulled her skirt up to show some ankle, and that was considered scandalous.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean it's hard to say much that hasn't already been said about Miracle on 34th. It is the quintessential believe and feel good Christmas movie, and anyone who has this number one, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. I was surprised it made less at the box office than
and what did I remember?
It made less than what I'm blanking on the name on It's a Wonderful Life.
No, I think it made 46 million. I think it made more than
is Google lying to me?
Oh, could be. You know what? You might be looking at the other.
Yeah.
The one with that little. Gosh, what was her name? I can't remember.
It's okay.
It's okay. She grew up and was on Hunger Games. I can't remember.
It says the 1947 one, but
okay.
U.S. Rentals, maybe that's it. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I did the box office. It was a profitable movie. It made. I remember 6.4 times its budget. So
okay.
And The Wonderful Life only earned its budget back.
That's what I get for trusting Google. All right. Well, mine's kind of already spoiled because, we talked, is going to be later on the list. But my number one, of course, is It's a Wonderful Life. For me, this is the quintessential Christmas movie. It has everything because it's not just a Christmas movie, but it's also just a really good movie about just how important you are to so many people, and the way that the movie methodically shows you this is just so good. The acting is incredible. It's timeless. Like I already said, the cinematography and the effects for its age are so good. It's quotable. For me, there's nothing better than for Christmas wise and sitting down and watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, I did more research on this than any of the other movies that we've mentioned. I love this movie. I do. But it does sort of fall into, there's a couple reasons it's not number one on my list.
Mm-hmm.
The events of this movie could occur on July 3rd, right?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Right.
Yes.
So that's one thing. The other is, or a couple of the others is Frank Capra himself. When he read, it's based on a short story by Philip Van Doren Stern. Now, most people probably don't remember the name Van Doren anymore, but that was a huge, big family, East Coast. If you ever saw the movie Quiz Show about the game show scandals in the 60s, that was Charles Van Doren. That was they were a famous New York, elite a family. They were involved in everything. But anyway, so he wrote, it was a version for him of A Christmas Carol. Right. Instead of the ghost, it's an angel and takes him back. It does past, present, future, Potterville, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Frank Capra, the director, said when he read the story, it wasn't a Christmas story to him. He thought it was a good message against atheism. I didn't know atheism was a huge problem in 1946, but
wow.
I did tell you that it won. It did win an Oscar for technical achievement. I find that. And the screenplay had 11 people involved in it. And listen to some of these names: Clifford Odets, Dalton Trumbo. These are famous screenwriters. Dorothy Parker. I don't know if you're probably not familiar with Dorothy Parker, but she was a famous writer in the 20s, 30s, and her and a bunch of these other, Runyon, all these famous New York newspaper writers. They would meet at the Algonquin Hotel. They called it Dorothy Parker and the Algonquin Round Table, and they were all smart. And she did a little polish on it. I mean, that just blows me away. What else was there? I had a couple other. Let me see. Let me check my. I guess. Oh, the FBI. The FBI came out against this movie because it was negative against banks. But yeah,
I did hear this one. I did hear that one before.
Yeah, that's like banks are good and grand institutions, and we should not be besmirching the honorable names of banks.
It's crazy considering what happened in the 1930s. That was like, exactly. I can't imagine the people who are going to see that movie are huge fans of the bank in the first place.
But that being said, right. It is a fantastic movie, and it is one of my favorite movies to watch every year. Jimmy Stewart is just terrific. Frank Capra is a brilliant, brilliant director, even though the review sort of implied that he had lost his fastball with this movie, which I can't see. I just can't see anyone watching this movie and saying, no, it's not very good. Right?
Yeah.
It didn't do well at the box office, which kind of just surprises me.
Yeah, because there's nothing like that. Like the movie really does wrong. Like maybe sure, there's a whole lot of action, but the writing is fantastic.
Yeah,
the acting is really good. Like the technical stuff, especially for the time, is really. I don't know. It does everything right. It's it's not just one of my favorite it's one of my favorite movies in general.
Movie.
And for most movies, for most Christmas movies, you don't really think, oh yeah, this is top of my all-time list. That generally doesn't happen. But for me, It's a Wonderful Life is one of those movies where it just it's so good. And pretty much the only a couple movies from the time period rival it. 12 Angry Men is one of them, but I don't know.
It was nominated, I think, for 6 Oscars and only won 1. The big winner that year was The Best Years of Our Life. And it was one of those movies about guys coming home from the war and trying to reassimilate back into their daily life. And again, this was a part of that whole stretch. A lot of those movies that were, hey, the war, the good war is over, and now we need to, get things back together. But it's just a wonder. It's a Wonderful Life is a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
So and like I said, even though the events could happen on July 3rd. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
it feels very Christmas. That's very Christmassy. Mr. Potter is Scrooge, right? Disney Goes to Christmas Past, right?
Unlike Die Hard, where it's just very loosely Christmas. While everything can happen on July 3rd, it wouldn't be the same if everything happened on July 3rd.
Right. It's not exactly, exactly, and it just again, he's standing in front of a Christmas tree at the end of it. Bruce Willis is standing in front of a cop car, and about to shoot a guy. So
yeah, that's fair. Well. Those are our top 10. We did it.
That was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too.
I'm going to throw out one honorable mention, though, because it's not a Christmas movie, but if it was, it would be in the top 10, and that is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Right. I guess a Thanksgiving movie.
It is a Thanksgiving movie, but for me, it is good enough that it deserves recognition. The your F scene is one of the funniest scenes ever put in the film.
There is a lot of really good stuff in it. John Candy, Steve Martin are both just
so good.
You got the little Kevin Bacon cameo there at the beginning, fight for the cab. It's just terrific. I agree. Right. It's got to be the best Thanksgiving movie.
The only Thanksgiving movie?
It's the best. There may be others out there.
No, but I didn't want to throw that out there. But just want to let you know, I hope you guys enjoyed, like Doug said. The way this is going to work is that at the end of every podcast, we are going to recommend a movie or movies that we are going to discuss on the next one so that you can watch or view or remember, and then so you can follow along a bit easier when we discuss it next time. And so we kind of agreed. I think it's going to go I recommend one, then Doug recommends one. So I'm going to recommend this week, and then Doug is going to get after next show for the third show. And we are going to talk about the Star Wars prequels next time on the podcast. We are going to talk about episodes 1, 2, and 3.
It'll be similar to our Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. It's going to be cynical. It's not going to be as happy and joyful as our, or at least I'm not going to be. I don't know, Neil, maybe a devotee.
I will be happy and joyful, but it'll be laughing at it, not with it.
Yeah. As I told Neil before, as you guys know, I'm 107 years old, which made me 13 in 1977. I am the Star Wars audience. And I'll just give you a little sneak preview of what we're going to discuss. I waited for that movie for 15 years. It's the first movie I've ever bought advance tickets to. I went with a group of guys my age, sat down in the theater, all excited. And then a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away comes up and it talks about a tax embargo and Congress is meeting. I'm like, what? And I'll save the rest for our next podcast. I hope you join us. Mm-hmm. I want to recommend, we've got a lot of content coming out here at NS9. In addition to some of our emergency podcasts, if you haven't caught them, please do. Tonight, this will be airing on Thursday, but
that's correct.
So if you haven't seen the NS9 Tuesday night show, Dan, how do you say his last name?
Szymborski, yeah.
Szymborski. One of our best yearly off-season shows is Dan and his Zips projections. Yep. That will be on Tuesday night. It's here on Thursday when you're watching this. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. Neil has been cranking out a ton of content on our NS9 website. Terrific stuff. And as is Kenny and Jim and everybody's kicking in. We're cranking out some content right now.
Yeah. After this debuts.
Yeah.
Jim is going live with his Out of the Park baseball series at 11 on Thursday. So make sure to watch that. And I do believe that on Friday, Cody is dropping his newest episode of
What's the name of Cody's show?
Catching Up, I believe. Catching Up. So Cody is going to have a new show, and look out for more content as we go on, as the Pirates make more emergency signings. We look forward to the Zach Greinke emergency podcast.
So in the spirit of Christmas, hey, we got our Christmas present early. It came on Tuesday with the re-signing of Andrew McCutchen, who we all know is happening. But Pirates have a way of screwing up even the easiest and simplest of things. So we're all very happy. We're going to be able to watch him get his 300th home run next year and just add to his Pirate legacy. We'll be back with another movie show in probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Have a safe and happy holidays. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hit like, hit subscribe. I'm sure that's going to come up from Jim here.
I'm about to play Jim in a second. So hope you all have a very blessed Christmas, happy holidays, and let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks. Thanks, Neil. This was fun.
Yeah.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.